Hey, it's Dave from Doing Things with Dave. And today I wanted to talk about Virgin Voyages, my experiences, the things I absolutely love about Virgin Voyages, the couple things I find that are a little weird or quirky, and the one thing that I absolutely don't like. So stick around, hear what I have to say. Maybe you'll be a little surprised. So, Virgin Voyages, they are one of the newest cruise lines. They got their start coming out of the pandemic. They were supposed to launch before the pandemic, but obviously everything paused for a while. And they currently have a couple of ships. They call them the lady ships, the Scarlet Lady, Resilient Lady, Brilliant Lady, and Valiant Lady. So currently 4 of them. They're really nice new ships. They, like I said, launched in 2020, 2021, and have slowly begun to start sailing all over the place. Now, I've been on 3 Virgin Voyages cruises, 2 in 2023 and 1 in 2024. So I have some experience about what I think is great about Virgin Voyages, what they're doing to innovate in the cruise space. And like I said, one thing that I absolutely don't like. So a couple of things about Virgin Voyages before I get into the things I like the most. Virgin is a new cruise line, as I said. They are adults only. They do a phenomenal job of creating a really relaxed, fun, a little bit of a party vibe, but at the same time, not overwhelmingly so. They generally sail from a couple of key places. Miami is their main U.S. port right now, although they are expanding to other places. They've built what they call Terminal V at the Miami cruise port. It's a kind of a funky, cool experience, and they do things a little bit different. Virgin does late debarkation, so they often will run a brunch in some of their restaurants and get people off the ship a little bit later than some cruise lines. At the same time, they do a bit later of a departure. So not so much late departure, but you board much later. So 2, 3 p.m. is kind of normal. They are incredibly strict about boarding times. So if you try to show up at the terminal early, you will wait, and you will wait outside, FYI. They also use a wearable. It's similar to like the Princess Medallion. It's not as effective in the sense of the tech behind it. I mean, it doesn't find you all over the ship, but it's kind of cool to pay for anything, to check into anything, and certainly use as your room key. It's a bracelet as opposed to a key card or sail and sign away type card. Makes life sort of easy. The other thing is their app is pretty well functioning. I would say it's probably better than some of the other cruise line apps I've used in the past. Very easy to make reservations, to change, to update, to reset your day, things like that. Okay, so let's talk about the 6 things I really like about Virgin Voyages. So number 1, the ship overall, they're new. They have tons of space. They're kind of quirky in some ways, but they've got tons of outdoor seating, tons of inside seating. They've got really cool themed types of bars and restaurants. So it's not like the same thing everywhere you go. They have 3 sets of elevators, so aft, middle, and forward. The stairs are kind of easy to get up and down. Some of the outdoor space is amazing down by the dock, which is the stern area on deck 7. They also have a ton of outdoor space. They've got a couple of pools. They've got a lot of fitness space. They've got a lot of just places to sit, hang out, a lot of hot tubs. They've got exercise equipment. They even have a boxing ring. So the ship's super solid. The rooms, amazing. They're not that big, but then again, it's a cruise cabin. But they've got really nice bathrooms. They're not big, but they've got a rainfall shower head. They've got water in your room all the time, constantly being brought by your stateroom attendant. And of course, the balconies. They have the, by far, best feature on any cruise ship. They've got hammocks. And I have to say, there is nothing better than a relaxing sea day in your hammock. Dining wise, they do an amazing job of dining. And this is something that Virgin Voyages does better than I think just about any cruise line. All of your dining is included. There is no such thing as specialty dining. Now, it doesn't mean that it's just all main dining room or all buffet. No, they've got a variety of different types of restaurants. So Wake is the steakhouse. Extra Virgin is their upscale Italian. Pink Agave, phenomenal Mexican food with an amazing mezcal selection. Test Kitchen is kind of their take on experimental food and unique dining experiences. Gunbei is their version of teppanyaki, but instead of a Japanese style hibachi, it's Korean barbecue. They've got an amazing pizza place making pizza to order. They have a free ice cream place called Lick Me Till I Scream. Yes, there is a bit of innuendo on this ship. It is adults only, so if that bothers you, maybe take a step back, but it's fun and funny at the same time. They've got a coffee place called the Grounds Club. They've got a really cool, what they call social club that's got hot dogs and boozy milkshakes. They've got the Dock House, which is kind of an appetizer type place with some Mediterranean fare. On the pool deck, they've got a daily window that opens for some types of ramen and bowls and things like that. They've got a ton of to-go boxes for sushi and charcuterie, salads, fruit, things like that. And then instead of a main dining room, they have a place called the Galley. And the Galley is a food hall. So you've got a diner, you've got a burger place, you've got tacos, you've got sandwiches, you've got Asian food, you've got salad, so all sorts of options. And then, of course, they've got a place called Razzle Dazzle, which originally was more of like a vegetarian restaurant with lots of meat dishes, and they've expanded that, they've redone the menu, but without a doubt, when you're on a Virgin ship, you're going to enjoy the food because it's all included. Now, you do have to make reservation, of course, for most of the places, but it's not super hard, especially if you're traveling as a couple or, like in my case, solo. I can almost always get into wherever I want to eat. The next thing that I really like about the Virgin experience is they have a bunch of great bars. Now, cruise ships, they all have good bars. What I love about Virgin is they've got a lot of different types of theming for bars. So there's a beer bar, there's a good whiskey bar, there's a good wine and champagne bar, there's a couple of cool cocktail bars. And they've got them all around the ship, different types of vibes in each one, lots of live music, which is a great thing, of course. Some of them have food options as well, so you can not only have a drink, but you can have something to eat. The bars are great. Some of my favorites are the Loose Cannon. The Loose Cannon is hard to find, but it's really cool. It's behind the social club. I love the Draft House, although one thing I've noticed on a couple of the cruises I've been on, they've got an extensive beer menu. That's obviously what a Draft House would be. But often they don't have all the beers that they said they were supposed to have. They didn't get a delivery, which is kind of a bit of a head scratcher. Like, pre-plan for this, you're coming into port, get the beer you're supposed to have, but oh well, I digress. The vibe on the ship, so the fourth thing I love about it, is awesome. It's low key, but it's party. It's a little bit of sleep in. It's a bit of boozy brunch. If you like those things, you're going to have a good time. And the vibe extends to the beach club in Bimini. So almost every cruise, at least out of Miami, regardless of how long and where you're going, will do a day in Bimini at the beach club. It's all included. Your whatever bar tab you have, your wearable will work. They've got a nice beach. They've got a pool. They've got food. They've got drinks. They've got all sorts of activities. It's a good vibe, and it basically the vibe follows from the ship to Bimini and then back. And then the last thing I really love about Virgin Voyages is their service is amazing. Like I mentioned before, they give you water every day in your cabin. They can do still, sparkling, or both, which is great, and they'll give you ice too, so always have the ability to have something to drink. All of your soft drinks are also included, except for coffee. The specialty coffee you can pay a little extra for, or depending on how you book, you might get some onboard credit for that. But that's a really nice thing. So if you want a soda, they've got the Coke happiness machines everywhere. So you can get a Coke or Sprite, a crispy Diet Coke, whatever your heart desires. Wi-Fi is really good. It's included at least at a basic package. So there's a couple of cool things. Gratuities used to be fully included. They've begun to make some changes on that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. They also have a little bit of a different take on their drinks package. So they sometimes have experimented with various different types of drinks packages, but in general, they don't offer one. Instead, they offer what's called the bar tab. The way the bar tab works is you prepay a certain amount, say $250 as an example. Maybe you get a $50 credit on top of that, so you have $300 of onboard credit that you can use for drinks. What's nice about that is not only can you buy whatever you want in terms of drinks, but if you're with some friends and you want to cover a round, you can do that. You can't do that sort of thing on another cruise ship. They won't let you generally get more than one drink, or maybe it's two drinks. So Virgin's done a couple of cool things in terms of innovating. I also think their staff is really phenomenal. If you've got a question, you've got a challenge, you've got a problem, generally they're going to help you solve it. And they kind of have a low-key vibe. They seem to be treated quite well. A lot of them have also been on other cruise lines, so they've got a lot of experience. So service, I have found to be really, really good. So again, covering off on the 6 things I really like. The ship's amazing. The cabin and your balcony, phenomenal. Dining is top-notch. The bars are great. The vibe on the ship, super awesome. And then service is great. So a lot of things that are cool. Now, weird things, these are not deal breakers, but they're just weird. The layout of the ship sometimes is a little weird. So as an example, when you get on deck 7, which is sort of the main happening deck, deck 6 and deck 7 are the two that have all the public spaces, restaurants, bars, things like that. You don't have the ability to go down the middle of the ship. You have to go down the starboard side or the right side of the ship. Now, part of that reason is the middle of the ship, they've got the 3 sets of elevators. But if you want to go down on the port side, you can't go completely down from, say, the front of the ship to the back of the ship. It's because the pizza place covers part of that space. Yes, you can go outside and go around, so that's not impossible, but it's a little bit weird. You have to stay on the starboard side. And that means finding some places can be a little bit hard. The social club, which is towards the back of the ship, towards the aft, you can only enter it from the starboard side. But then once you enter it, you then, if you want to find Loose Cannon, which is kind of this funky, cool cocktail bar, or the free arcade, you've got to know how to get there from there. Also, to get to the dock from inside the ship, you come down the starboard side, then you make a right turn at essentially the stern or the aft, but not at the complete end because that's where the entrance to wake is. And then you have to kind of walk around and either go to the inside bar or the outside bar. Now, it's not hard to do. It's not challenging, but it's a little quirky. And then on the opposite side, or I should say not the opposite, but on deck 6, things are backwards. So you go down on the port side. It's where all the shopping is. It's where the famous tattoo parlor is. Yes, you can get a tattoo at sea on a Virgin Voyages cruise. It's where some of the spa and men's grooming is. It's where the shops are. It's also where the casino is. The casino is very small. This is not really a gambling ship or a gambling type of crowd. Totally fine. But again, a little bit of a weird layout there. And then the pool deck is kind of weird. There's 2 pools. The main pool, it's kind of like a resort style pool with lots of funky seating. It's got mattresses and weird benches and couches set up. The pool itself is tiny. So it's kind of strange. And then there's a second pool that also is a little weird. It's a round pool. It looks sort of like a hot tub, but it's a cold pool, and then there's hot tubs around it. Is this a problem? No. It's just a little bit weird. But the thing I don't like about Virgin Voyages, and this may sound a little controversial, or people may be like, what the heck are you talking about? So I've been on 3 times. My first time, I kind of enjoyed this. Scarlet Night, the Pajama Night, all of the scripted events that they've got, the sort of the way in which the ship flows day to day and the things you do, they're ship-wide in many cases. That was fun the first time. The second and third time, it felt just that. It felt scripted. It felt repetitive. It felt forced. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was weird. I was excited for Scarlet Night the second time I got on the ship, and then it just was like, oh my gosh, it's the same things. It's the octopus here, it's the wedding there, it's the this, it's the that. It felt like no one was actually into it. Now, people were on their first cruise, thought it was cool, but the Happenings cast didn't seem to love it all that much. Maybe it's because they're forced to do, okay, at 10:02 we do this, and 10:07 we do that. So it's something that I don't love about it. And it is what it is. So, okay, with all that said, Virgin Voyages is truly an innovative cruise line. Virgin as a company, Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Galactic, and every other Virgin that's out there has constantly tried to disrupt the market. They've tried to break category conventions. Richard Branson is obviously a very smart business leader. And Virgin Voyages is trying to disrupt the cruise market. They've done a lot of things that are different. The all-included dining, Wi-Fi as part of the package, trying to reduce some of the friction. Yes, it's a higher premium price. And yes, they've made their share of mistakes. I think Virgin is pretty good at listening to sailor or participant feedback. They call you a sailor, which is kind of cool and quirky. They've recently made some announcements on changing their fare structure. So it used to be essentially you paid for your cruise fare. Everything that you got was included. You still get a lot of things included, but depending on how much you want to pay, either from the most restrictive, if think of the airline, the basic economy to your sort of premium economy, and then obviously your suite level stuff, you're going to get more things. You're going to get more access. You're going to get earlier access. You're going to get better Wi-Fi. Tips, which used to be completely included on all fares, are now being phased out of that inclusive component, and now you can either prepay your tips for $20 a day or on board for $22 a day. By the way, speaking of tips, I just made a video all about cruise tipping. I'll link it in the description. Take a look at that. I am a firm believer that you should absolutely tip on your cruise ship and never take your cruise gratuity off, but that's for another video. The last thing I want to cover off on is the question might be, after watching this video, should you take a Virgin Voyages cruise? Wholeheartedly, I will say yes, absolutely. The first time you do it, you will probably love it. It is a great experience. Where I would suggest to be mindful is maybe the second time, maybe pass on it, maybe not do that cruise next or deposit for the next cruise. I really loved my first time on Virgin Voyages. My second time, it was probably the worst cruise I've taken. In any case, I hope your day is going great, and I'll see you on the sea.